If you're guilty of massive amounts of misinformation and disinformation as a part of a propaganda campaign.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has directed federal prosecutors to launch a grand jury investigation into members of the Obama administration over the 2016 Russia investigation.
A lot of them are guilty of it.
Yeah,
a lot of the people that are in that White House press conference, a lot of the organizations they work for, distributed absolute lies.
Total lies.
Tulsi Gabbard declassified documents that she says shows Obama administration officials manufactured intelligence to make it look like Russia interfered in the 2016 election.
How many of them during the whole Russiagate thing?
A ton of people think that the Russia thing was real.
Yeah,
Still. I mean, the whole Steele dossier where it was like completely concocted.
Funded by the Clinton campaign.
Correct.
Joe Rogan doesn't just poke holes in Barack Obama's image. He rips the entire, carefully crafted facade to shreds. With his signature precision and brutal wit, Rogan tears through the smooth speeches, flawless delivery, and celebrity-style branding that kept millions hooked for years. He exposes the scripted politics, the strategic disappearances, and the perfectly curated pauses, calling it all what it really is: performance art disguised as leadership. Every calculated moment Obama spent building his myth is stripped bare, leaving behind a cold reality. This isn't about inspiration. It's about selling a product. Rogan doesn't admire the performance. He unmasked the master marketer wearing a presidential suit.
You know what, if I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony, I'd be fine with that.
We know he wasn't really running the country.
Yeah.
We used to think he was actually running the country, and now they're like, no, he didn't even see those executive orders. That was all auto-pen.
Barack Obama has turned his public appearances into blockbuster productions, each one polished like a Hollywood monologue. And Joe Rogan isn't buying the act. He points out how Obama talks like a philosopher, but moves like a brand ambassador, orchestrating every gesture for maximum effect. From the slow lift of his chin to the perfectly timed pauses, it's less about leadership and more about stagecraft. Rogan compares it to a theater student who accidentally wandered into the Oval Office and decided to stay. Behind the elegance and the charm lies a man who has mastered optics, not authenticity, and Rogan wastes no time calling it out.
He doesn't give a
Here in the United States, countless publications provoke offense. Like me, the majority of Americans are Christian, and yet we do not ban blasphemy against our most sacred beliefs.
He doesn't give a They're
That's
just
a flat
going
out
for
goddamn.
it.
As president of our country and commander-in-chief of our military, I accept that people are going to call me awful things every day, and I will always defend their right to do so.
Flat out lie.
Efforts to restrict speech can quickly become a tool to silence critics and oppress minorities. We do so because, given the power of faith in our lives, the strongest weapon against hateful speech.
Obama has built his reputation on being everything to everyone, while standing firmly for as little as possible, and Rogan shreds that balancing act. One day he's the relatable dad next door, the next he's an untouchable statesman, and sometimes he manages to play both roles in the same sentence. It's a hypnotic juggling act that has kept his fan base loyal for more than a decade. But Rogan isn't impressed. He mocks Obama's ability to speak for hours about change and progress, while somehow making it all sound like a sanitized college brochure designed to avoid offending anyone. To Rogan, the duality isn't genius, it's calculated manipulation.
This is the accusation. They're throwing around the word treason.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016.
They're saying that Obama knew that Russia did not meddle in the election, did not have any impact in the election.
The cult of personality surrounding Barack Obama is where Rogan digs his sharpest knife. Millions treat the former president like he's the walking embodiment of hope, as though he can fix the economy by simply loosening his tie. Rogan, however, exposes the truth behind the shine. Obama is a skilled politician who played the same power games as everyone else. He just did it with better lighting, a better playlist, and better PR. Rogan drives home the point that charisma isn't policy and charm doesn't solve problems. Obama's greatest trick, Rogan argues, has been convincing people that it does.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump.
The childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
when he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise. Gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling the watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten numb to all this stuff.
Then Rogan goes after Obama's post-presidency glow-up, and he doesn't hold back. While most former presidents retreat into quiet memoir writing and endless rounds of golf, Obama transformed his image into a multi-million-dollar luxury brand. From Netflix productions to Spotify playlists to speaking tours with ticket prices high enough to fund a small country's healthcare system, Rogan sees it for what it is, monetizing the myth. This isn't about public service anymore. It's about brand expansion. With the finesse of a Silicon Valley CEO launching the next big app, Obama has turned his legacy into a business. And Rogan is here to dismantle the illusion.
We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history.
But yet promoted this idea.
James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years.
And then there's been some incredible clips of all these different news reporters, CNN and MSNBC, just saying over and over and over again, clear evidence of Russian collusion.
Rogan also takes aim at the nostalgia machine keeping Obama's image alive. Fans cling to his speeches like comfort food, overlooking how much of his presidency was defined by strategic inaction. While Obama sold hope, Rogan argues, he perfected the art of fence-sitting. He wanted to inspire without risking controversy, energizing people without taking real stands. Even Obama's obsession with being the cool president comes under fire. From the celebrity hangouts to the basketball games, every move was calculated to project effortless charm. Rogan mocks how Obama can talk about war, economic collapse, or a national crisis and still make it sound like a cheerful college commencement speech. It's a talent, sure, but Rogan calls it what it really is, dodging responsibility.
When you look at the policies and the attacks on whistleblowers and drone strikes and all the other that happened during that administration and the coup in Russia, and like there's a lot that's, from a foreign policy perspective, that's very similar to what George Bush was doing. But what they were doing was highlighting social justice issues that came about during his administration, largely obscured the fact that the foreign policies were very similar to what George Bush was doing.
To Rogan, Obama is like a stand-up comic who tells a 20-minute story, gets thunderous applause, but never actually delivers a punchline. The crowd leaves smiling, but when they think about it later, they realize nothing was really said. Rogan laughs at the carefully managed image of Obama as a unifier, reminding everyone that the country remained deeply divided during his presidency. Yet, the marketing made it look like he was holding the nation together. Rogan compares it to giving credit to a mall Santa for saving Christmas while ignoring the retail chaos happening behind him. He calls Obama's approach political yoga, extreme flexibility in morals and positions, always ending with a deep camera-ready bow.
There is what Obama said on the same video. There is what Trump actually said. It's disgusting. It's a disgusting lie. And he's talking about George Washington. He said George Washington had slaves. Let's play it.
On both sides of a white supremacist rally.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down a very, very important statue from Robert E. Lee to another name. Was George Washington a slave owner? So So will George Washington now lose his status? Excuse me, how about Thomas Jefferson? Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned.
Rogan saves some of his sharpest jabs for Obama's Netflix empire, mocking the idea that these glossy productions exist to educate or inspire. To him, they're nothing more than PR tools designed to keep the Obama brand alive, perfectly timed to evoke nostalgia for the so-called good old days. Rogan points out that when a political figure controls their own storytelling platform, what you get isn't history, it's propaganda with a killer soundtrack. Every interview, every documentary, every public appearance is another brushstroke on a self-portrait Obama once hung in the Hall of Great Leaders. Rogan argues that it's all about controlling the narrative, Kardashian-style marketing wrapped in presidential polish. And frustratingly, it works, because Obama knows his audience and plays them like an instrument.
Is that the 2011 thing where Obama allowed people to use propaganda against United States citizens?
Hillary Clinton is and has been an outstanding public servant.
What was done then under Obama, effective repeal of it, was called the Smith Modernization Act.
She was a great Secretary of State for me.
At the time, the media and media control was seen as the linchpin crux of winning the Cold War, piping in pro-U.S. media influence.
The policy of my administration is to encourage transparency. Why my emails, the BlackBerry that I carry around, all those records are available.
Congress recognized the Frankensteinian monster they were creating by authorizing a covert, permanent Department of Dirty Tricks, and this is their phrase, not mine.
Hillary has instructed those emails that had to do with official business need to be disclosed.
To infiltrate and co-opt the universities, the unions, the media, the politicians, the judges, the whole swarm arm.
Rogan also calls out Obama's selective activism, accusing him of choosing causes the way influencers pick brand deals, carefully, strategically, and without risk. He avoids controversial issues and only backs trendy, safe causes that align perfectly with his image. To Rogan, that's not leadership, that's marketing. He also takes aim at Obama's Hollywood-heavy social circle, mocking how he surrounds himself with billionaires and celebrities while still branding himself as relatable. Rogan skewers the absurdity of a man claiming to represent everyday Americans while vacationing on private islands and appearing in glossy Vanity Fair spreads. It's hard to sell authenticity when your weekends look like red carpet premieres.
You never seen it?
No.
It's amazing. He gets a glass of Flint tap water, and I swear to God, he drinks it like this. Watch this.
Can I get some water? I really did need a glass of water. This is not a stunt.
Usually when something isn't a stunt, you have to say
It's
that.
100% a stunt. When was the last time a president stopped a speech to ask, can I get a glass of water? They would never do that. They would have water ready for him.
For Rogan, Obama isn't just a politician. He's a brand, and every detail is part of the packaging. From the tailored suits to the curated Spotify playlists, Obama sells an emotion, not a reality. That emotion is nostalgia, a longing for a version of America that mostly existed in campaign slogans and speeches. Rogan warns that while nostalgia is powerful, it doesn't fix the present or pay the bills. By the time Rogan's roast is over, Obama is stripped of the beacon of hope, labeled and recast as a masterful performer who turned politics into a personal franchise. And Rogan makes it clear, every calculated move Obama makes from here on out only adds fuel to the fire.
Like, I've had candid conversations with Tulsi Gabbard about what it was like.
It's a disservice to the American people that former President Obama's office and others who are criticizing the transparency that is being delivered by releasing these documents. They are doing a disservice to the American people and trying to deflect away from their culpability in what is a historic scandal.
She's a person, tries to be friends with everybody, tries to reach across the aisle. She's got that whole aloha.
Rogan digs deeper into Obama's post-presidency theater, mocking how a man who once commanded the world stage now works like a premium content creator. Every Netflix project, podcast, or production looks less like cultural contribution and more like brand expansion. The topics are safe, the tone polished, and the narratives flattering, always placing Obama at the center of the story as the hero. Rogan likens it to a greatest hits tour where the fans aren't there for anything new, just to relive the old magic. He tears down the illusion of civic engagement, arguing that Obama's entire post-presidency strategy is about one thing: keeping the Obama brand at the top shelf.
Isn't it crazy, like when Obama was president, worst they could get on him is, remember when he wore that tan suit?
Why did you take issue with the suit?
Because you know the image makers in the White House. Here's a president coming out at such a serious moment where he should be addressing the country on such a serious matter, and he looked like he was on his way to a party at the Hamptons.
He never had a single moment publicly where he stumbled, where he said something really stupid. This is insane.
Finally, Rogan takes aim at the merchandising of ideals. Every book, every podcast, every inspirational production is infused with a carefully engineered tone of moral authority. Leadership as a luxury brand. Rogan argues that Obama has successfully sold inspiration as a product, creating an audience that feels empowered simply by consuming his content, while he cashes bigger checks and polishes his legacy. He also calls out Obama's strategic disappearances whenever political reality gets messy, only re-emerging when the timing is perfect and safe. Rogan compares it to a pop star dropping a surprise single just to remind the world they're still relevant. It's a never-ending performance, a cycle designed to maintain the myth. And Rogan's conclusion is simple: the show is still going, but he's not buying a ticket.